Rhodiola Rosea is also known as the golden root. It can combat stress and fatigue. It can help you overcome anxiety and depression. It also can help with mental cognition and athletic performance. Come on over and learn some more with me. Hi, everybody. So, let me start with my disclaimer this morning. No, it's not morning anymore, it's afternoon. So, either way, we're going to start with a disclaimer. I'm an herbalist, I'm not a doctor. Do your own research, please. The links where I gleaned some of my information from is down in the description below. Come in, check out Facebook, The Herbalist Garden. That's a group that I have, and we get a lot of people, a lot of good discussions, a lot of good learnings. Love to see you over there too. So rhodiola is our plant this week. It was one of the ones that was requested, and I did my research. I mean, I've taken this plant before. I knew the gist of what it did. I knew that it needed it. It has been known to basically help with anxiety and help you lose weight and give you energy and stuff like that. But I didn't really do my research because I'm just guinea pig in this stuff, and it's designed to help you. Helps me, definitely. I've only ever taken one thing that I realized I couldn't take again. Um, didn't have really negative effects, but it wasn't for me, so that doesn't mean it's not for you. We're going to talk about Rhodiola Rosea. I don't know if I said it right in the opening. I'm not re-recording it. Yay. It's a plant native to cold regions of Europe and Asia. Oh yeah, by the way, I have my notes over here. I read along, I read it. These are gleaned from all the websites down below, so if I mention a study, it will be in those notes. And if you're interested, because remember, do your own research. It's important. And just think, they didn't have the internet back then. They just had to figure out what to do, passing it down through generations. Anyway, this root has a long history of use in traditional medicine. Rhodiola rosea, also known as Arctic root or golden root, is an herb grown in the cold regions and high altitudes of Europe and Asia. Many people rely on rhodiola for its purported benefits, which include increased energy, strength, endurance, and mental capacity. It is also said to help improve athletic performance and manage the effects of stress, depression, and anxiety. People in Russia, Scandinavia, and other parts of Europe have traditionally used rhodiola for medicinal purposes. That's why we're here. It's also a widely used dietary supplement. It can support efforts to manage physical and psychological stressors when incorporated with a balanced lifestyle. This unique herb is a member of the Rhodiola genus in the Rhodiola family. Okay. It is used in traditional Chinese medicine, especially to improve stamina and reduce stress. It's an adaptogen. Vikings also used rhodiola to enhance physical strength, while the Sherpa people used it to climb high altitudes like Mount Everest. Russians have studied rhodiola benefits extensively over the past 70 years, primarily for improving work performance and endurance while fighting insomnia, fatigue, anxiety, and depression. It's also been used to cleanse the body, fight cancers, and even treat tuberculosis. It is an ergogenic aid, basically an adaptogen. It's also called like a natural herbal product that is non-toxic in normal doses, that produces a non-specific response and that has normalizing physiological influence. Okay. Rhodiola has been very helpful for improving both physical and mental energy and for fighting the adverse effects of stress. We're going to go into some more detail on all this. So, we want to avoid stress. I mean, we've heard that all of our lives, but why specifically? Why? I mean, do you ever hear something said and go, well, why? Like, here at my job, I facilitate and process payments, and sometimes I just want to know what it's paying. I want to know who, what, where, when, and why. And it's really none of my business. But it's interesting to have like the details, the origin story. It's a payment, but it's just an example. So the origin story of rhodiola, and why people used it, what made them use it, blah 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 blah. That's why I love the history of these things as well. But it contains more than 40 kinds of chemical compounds. Those specifically include the rosavin and salidroside. Salidroside. So the rosavin is the only blah, 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 what constituent unique to Rhodiola rosea, um, while the salidroside is most common in all rhodiola species. So rosavin, if you it's present in it is the rosavin has higher concentrations than the salidrosides, with a ratio of approximately 3 to 1 in the Rhodiola rosea. In animal studies, it's been found that rosavin contributes to rhodiola's benefits by having antidepressant-like, adaptogenic, anxiolytic-like, and stimulating effects. So basically, it helps with your mental health and the way your body deals with stress. So it helps the body adapt to stress by reducing and preventing hormonal changes. That's what I was getting to, because those are associated with prolonged stress. Trying to formulate some ideas here. Research suggests that some of the ways it does this are by acting on beta endorphins and opioid neuropeptides to enhance to enhance stress tolerance and be positively affected by other stress adaptogenic factors. So basically, it hits it where it counts. It doesn't just, and it's not made of petroleum. Wow, that's the big one here. This is not a pharmaceutical. My seat's falling again. It's not a pharmaceutical. It is a natural herb grown from the ground, given to us by nature. If you want to be spiritual, it comes to us from God. I don't care. Okay, I care, but I don't like judge for what anybody decides to believe. It is however you feel like you want to live your life. That is exactly how I do things. And so it's natural. It's not man made. That is a huge part of this, in my opinion. Because I'm sorry, as a human race, we done messed up. We messed up day wrong. Mhm. Anyways, sorry. I gotta keep on task here. It's written down. I'm gonna keep on task. Rhodiola is considered an adaptogen, and adaptogens are classes of natural substances believed to support body's resistance to physical, environmental, and emotional stressors. That's what an adaptogen is. Rhodiola extract can be used as well. Not so we have the root. We have it is mostly the root that is used. Yes, it is. But it helps protect from cell damage and regulate our heartbeat, and that's how it, as well as being on the beta endorphins. I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's all interconnected. If it's in our body, it's connected. So one thing begets another. Using that word for some reason last week. I don't know. I'm here. I do what I do. Okay, so we know that it can boost energy, reduce anxiety, help with depression. It also helps with premature ovarian failure. It supports adrenal function, improves brain health, help with ADHD, um, weight loss, stress management, increase athletic performance, treat diabetes, fight cancer, reduce blood pressure, and increase immunity. We're going to cover all of those things and studies that have been done that prove that these help, that this helps with those things. So they're high, it has a high concentration of flavonoids, phenolic acids, and we talked about the rosamin and the saladroside. I think that's pretty good pronunciation for my lack of being able to pronounce things like that. Well, I it's pretty good. I guess I'll put them up here. Yeah, they're here. Anyway, here's another mechanism of action, why and how it works on our bodies. Freaking love this science stuff. So, rhodiola primarily exerts itself by modulating. That's a big word because, side note, nothing fixes any one thing. There's a combination of our environment, physical health, our mental health. It is a combination between how your body works and how the plant can work with your body and in conjunction with perhaps other ones that are formulated. So the modulating, it modulates. It doesn't fix it. It modulates it. In other words, it helps your body do what it's supposed to do automatically. Okay. So modulating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis, which regulates the serum of stress hormones such as cortisol. And to this end, rhodiola extracts have been shown to reduce elevated cortisol levels and support a balanced stress response, thereby accelerating the body's natural return to homeostasis, back to normal. Normal is not the same for everybody, so they came up with the word homeostasis. It's just a balance. So rhodiola enhances the activity of neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, which may contribute to its mood lifting activity and impacts on focus and energy. It also exhibits antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and we'll also find out that it's got antimicrobial and antibacterial properties as well. But the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant reduce cellular damage based on oxidative stress. We've talked about oxidative stress and like the what it does to our body and why it's a thing. We've talked about that on many different weeks. But any antioxidants, A-OK. We heard the buzz about it back years ago when they were doing it in like face creams. So yeah, I mean, I still make my own, but it does all that, and it really does actually work and help. reduce that stress. So your body can adapt to perform well under stress. Some of us thrive on stress, but not like the kind. This is high intensity chronic stress is debilitating. It affects our physical and psychological health. It'll eventually, if we don't tend to it, it will creep in on our daily life, our work, our relationships. Rhodiola has been linked to improvements in stress management. Research has shown that rhodiola extract can treat stress symptoms and prevent complications. It will help release stress hormones and build cellular energy metabolism. So, in all that, it helps with ADHD. So, all you people who are on Ritalin or Adderall, that's the one that's popular now. It was Ritalin when I was growing up. It's Adderall now. It does the same thing. Um, yeah, it doesn't do anything different. I wouldn't even doubt it if they just rebranded the drug. Anyway, so people have reported that their moves have been improved since adding rhodiola to their regimen, because it can enhance and protect the brain. Scientists are exploring benefits and its potential non pharmacological treatment for ADHD. I freaking love it when they actually do studies on these things rather than drugs, like pharmaceutical, not real, synthesized and petroleum based. Are you going to go out and eat a whole jar of Vaseline? Because that's what that is too. Petroleum jelly. If you think about it, it's really gross. So, in one double blind placebo trial, students were given rhodiola supplements for 20 days during an exam period. They found that they experienced significantly improved physical fitness, reduced mental fatigue, and better sleep. They also observed that the scores were 8% higher of those than in the placebo group. Boom. A review of the available data on Rhodiola Rosea benefits furthermore bolstered these claims, showing it may positively impact learning and memory function. Some are even hopeful it can be used as a part of treatment protocol for Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. So yeah, it. Symptoms of stress include things like lack of energy, gastrointestinal upset, chest pain, insomnia, and this can manage all that. Um, those are just the physical symptoms. The emotional symptoms are completely different. You become easily frustrated, moody, low self esteem, avoidance of social situations. And I'm sitting there thinking, isn't that half of society anymore? Those of us who are extroverts, for the longest time, did I turn into an introvert? I don't know. Is that part of maturing? I really don't know about that one. Is it just we learn to adjust because the world's a super cruel place and you just shut down parts of you mentally so that you can even remotely survive and not even thrive, survive. We want to we want to thrive, not just survive. That is a huge one. But rhodiola would play a specific role in that stress management. So, most of those pharmaceuticals will only either treat physical or the emotional, where rhodiola does both. So, similar to antidepressants, it'll help boost your mood. One small study, they gave them doses of zero point 0.3 or 0.6 grams per day over 12 weeks and found that improved symptoms in adults with major depressive disorder when combined with Zoloft. So they combined the pharmaceutical with the herb, and sometimes you are able to do that, and everything has to do with making sure that a doctor knows you're doing this. I'm even going to say that because when you're messing with a pharmaceutical and an herb together, you have to make sure they don't interact because there are ones that will interact. Say you're taking a blood thinner and then you're going to go out and like take a medicinal dose of an herb that has blood thinning quantities. Guess what? You're just, I don't know, it's going to turn into water or something and maybe evaporate because thinning too much. We don't want that because that is damaging to our bodies. We want to regulate everything. If we can regulate it without pharmaceuticals, fantastic. Fantastic. But if can't, let's try to use both. I said I'm not a purist. I do not practice any pharmacological advances right now. Um, it's just I want to see how this works first, like how the herbal life goes, and then I can make decisions later. Got my strawberries. This is one way to stay healthy. Fruits and vegetables. That's why we're learning about plants. I am not saying don't eat meat because don't ever say that. I say that because I love me some steak. Yeah. hmm Anyways, so researchers found that combining rhodiola with sertraline, 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 which is what Zoloft is, led to better outcomes than just sertraline alone. In one review, a few studies found that rhodiola supplementation may help stabilize mood in some people. Rhodiola has been found to improve negative mood in adults with mild anxiety. And what does long-term stress do to us? It breaks down our cardiovascular health. Well, rhodiola can help protect that. Rhodiola rosea has potent antioxidant effects that help reduce damage from oxidative stress. It supports cardiovascular health because it can also lower stress, anxiety, and fatigue, and indirectly benefit heart rate and blood pressure. Okay, so, and it also helps with our improving fatigue. Two separate smaller studies found that students who took 50 milligrams of rhodiola extract twice daily had a significant improvements in physical fitness, motor functions, and mental performance. The students had improved sleep patterns, mood stability, and motivation. The follow-up study that had found that 660 milligrams of rhodiola extract daily increased students' physical work capacity, coordination, and well-being while reducing fatigue. Um, a study published in International Journal of Sports Nutrition and Exercise Metabolism, it showed that rhodiola had anti-inflammatory effects that aid rapid muscle recovery to improve endurance. Another study in rats found that supplementing with rhodiola could increase endurance, allowing the animals to swim 25% longer. The improvements occurred because rhodiola is found to increase the ATP synthesis, which is essential for cell generation energy. My goodness, there's so much here. Rhodiola has been long used for its benefits to improve energy levels. And guess what? If you have more energy during the day, you're going to utilize that energy. So what's going to happen at night? Mm-hmm. That's strawberry sprayed. If you are expending energy that you use in a day, you're going to be so tired at night, you're not going to be able to stay awake. It's just the way it is. I know there's other factors and whatnot, but in a general sense, studies in high altitude settings showed that rosea may improve sleep disorders by regulating sleep wake cycles and enhancing overall sleep quality without the negative effects of synthetic stimulants. So it will help because you run all day and then you sleep all night. That's how it's supposed to flow. And you have to stay on it. And the other thing is, people just expect it to come easily, and it does not. I have issues with sleep, personally. And even when I took the Rhodiola, so it is not a foolproof, but I had so much energy during the day. It was like nervous energy. So you have to make sure you're not taking too much or not too, or too little. So at the time, an eighth of a teaspoon. I think that was what the dose was. It was what it had me taking daily. No, I don't know the equivalent. I'm sorry. But it was four. I don't remember. I don't want to give you the wrong number. We're gonna go over dosage later. Thought I had and I didn't. So another study showed that it also may support energy storage and use. So basically, it may help with storing energy, not like pent up energy. It's not supposed to make you nervous, like nervous anxiety, jittery, like caffeine. It's not supposed to do that. But if you take too much, or if you're like, you take it and then you don't utilize the energy, go clean your house, make your beds, sweep, um, get the outside chores done. There's a ton of things that we can do in our lives. Now I'm stuck here sitting at my desk all day long, but you know what? I got a door, and sometimes I get up and I do some little boogieing or some exercising. I know I look really old doing that. Whatever. Um, Sometimes I'll do some stretching. Sometimes I'll just put on some music and just flow. And I can still go do my work at the same time. I want my strawberries. I want my drink. This all has to be done. So, yeah, still not really done. Wow. So we also know that this can treat depression. There's so many studies. Please feel free to check out the links below to see those studies. Um, so they're finding that the rhodiola study supplement has improvements in depression related to burnout syndrome, which is, I think, what a lot of people have. It's not like normal depression, it's burnout syndrome because we're just on the go all the time. So, a study of 57 participants also found that rhodiola extract helped reduce depression symptoms after 12 weeks. They don't give us a dose in that synopsis, but I'm sure it's in there below. They found that it was about as effective as Zoloft, and it had no side effects. It's as effective as Zoloft and no side effects. Um, I'm game. Come on. That's kind of the point here, you guys. We're avoiding pharmaceuticals because they give us side effects that like harm our body further. We are seeming bats. It's a spooky season. Sometimes I wish I did makeup so I could do that while I'm talking and learning with you, but I leave that to Bailey Sarian. I freaking adore her murder mystery makeup. So go see her if you want makeup too. Mine's mediocre at best. Anyway, back to my notes. That's why I write them down. Um, let's see. There was a trial involving 80 mildly anxious participants. Found that they took the Betano. That's a brand name for a Rhodiola Rosea supplement. They demonstrated it demonstrated a significant reduction in self-reported anxiety, stress, anger, confusion, and depression at 14 days, and a significant improvement in total mood. They said they didn't see much difference in some of the other things that it is supposed to help with, but that's not what they were really looking at either. Another small pilot study included 10 adults with anxiety, found the supplements of 360 milligrams daily for 10 weeks led to a significant improvement in symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder and a reduction in Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale scores. That's in your link below. So it showed participants with general anxiety disorder significantly decreased their anxiety symptoms. And the ones that they felt that they had before that it fixed were like tension, worry, fear, insomnia, depression, muscle twitch, heart palpitations, difficulty breathing, gastrointestinal upset, dry mouth, sweating, fidgeting, lost libido. It says that it improved all those things. Yep. One of the other things that it has been known to do and has been used for is premature ovarian failure. So it's basically um, or it's also called primary ovarian insufficiency, POI. It's a condition where women lose their fertility and period before the age of 40. Um, they had researchers gave rhodiola to 40 participants who had experienced that premature ovarian failure. At the end of the study, 25 of them had resumed menstruating and 11 were pregnant. So it's not going to say it's a fertility treatment, but you have to have your period to be fertile. It's kind of the way that works. Eggs don't drop without a period. Um, so these women were able to have a period and get pregnant. That's 11 out of the 40. That's actually really good odds. Well, they're not going to ever recommend it as a fertility treatment, but we can start a period up and hopefully make you fertile. Then it's great. I fixed all that for myself. Okay, so it also supports cognitive function. It increases. I read that wrong. So our cognitive function is ideally supposed to go away as we age. That does not happen to everybody. And I'm starting to think that that's not a norm. like people can have cognitive decline, but I don't think like Alzheimer's. I don't. I haven't done the studies too much, but the preliminary idealizing is that that's not normal. There's something going on, and I know statins are a huge part of cognitive decline. Um, but being that rhodiola has antioxidants, obviously, it reduces oxidative stress, which can damage the brain cells, that increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease. So let's just keep on pumping in those antioxidants so that the mental decline doesn't happen. In a double-blind study, physicians, I don't know what that means. If you do, let me know. Physicians working night shifts were given either a placebo or 170 milligrams of rhodiola daily for 2 weeks. They found that rhodiola reduced mental fatigue and improved work performance by 20% compared to the placebo group. A 2012 study found that 4 weeks after taking 400 milligrams of Rhodiola Rosea daily, participants experienced improvement in fatigue, stress, and anxiety. Another 2012 systematic review of 11 randomized controlled trials that focused on rhodiola's anti-fatigue effects found that some evidence suggests that the herb may help enhance physical performance and alleviate mental fatigue. So, helps with athletic performance. So, if you're reducing oxidative stress, building those antioxidants, it can improve the way your body functions, obviously, and therefore improve your exercise performance. So, subjects who took rhodiola extract experienced reduced pain and muscle damage after physical activity. They were showed to have reduced oxidative stress and improved explosive power, or the ability to increase force rapidly. Like, the end of the race, you've been chugging along good steady pace the whole entire time, right? And then at the end, you're like, dude, I'm gonna win this. And you just boom. That actually improved that ability to be able to get that like last punch of wind, punch of energy, I guess. The second wind concept. Um, the punch of energy that they needed to increase force rapidly. The study noted that participants who took rhodiola had an altered perception of the difficulty of the exercise. So it all increases performance. Um, it helps manage our diabetes. Not mine. I don't have any, thankfully. So basically, it causes high blood sugar, right? And insulin resistance and stuff like that. Um, Insulin is the hormone that helps move glucose sugar into your cells. And if we develop insulin resistance by basically just telling it we don't need it, that's when diabetes can happen. One animal study found that Salidraside, one of the many bioactive compounds in rhodiola, protected beta cells from damage in diabetic mice. Beta cells produced insulin but did not function properly in people with diabetes. So that's kind of basically what it helps manage that. So it's also been known to have anti-cancer properties. Most of the research only been conducted in vitro, which means in a test tube. So scientists cannot verify it in human cells, but I believe that they're working on those studies, trying to perfect it in the animals before they go to people. But some evidence suggests that celedracide may inhibit the growth of non-small cell lung cancer cells, um, signaling pathways that contribute to colorectal cancer. Cell cultures studies indicate that rhodiola may be inhibit the growth of bladder, breast, gastric, or glomerular cell cancer cells. So if it can do that, it can also burn belly fat. So I mean, that was face. Anyway, one of the many incredible characteristics of rhodiola is that it can help your body burn stored fat more efficiently as fuel. So if you're taking rhodiola and you're exercising, utilizing that actual, sorry, utilizing the energy that is it's giving you to exercise or something extremely active, right? Something to get that heart racing for more than 20 minutes, that it will give you the extra edge that you need and helps lose that belly fat. And that visceral white adipose tissue, visceral fat, right? It's the hardest to get rid of. Unfortunately, the easiest to come on. Usually has to do with your triglyceride intakes. Usually has to do with your fat intakes. But not always, because we still need fat. It feeds our brain. Cholesterol feeds your brain and your sexual organs. It's important. But it increased also the hypothalamic norepinephrine. That word. Helping prevent diet induced obesity. Okay, so it helps reduce that stuff in our body that holds on to the visceral fat cells, basically. The Rosavan has been shown to trigger a fat burning response in the body because it helps normalize the cortisol levels. Rhodiola can also reduce cravings for unhealthy comfort foods and delay fat accumulation associated with high cortisol levels, especially around the belly and the abdomen. Because that's where us women have that problem the most. Rosamin works by stimulating the enzyme called hormone sensitive lipase, which breaks down stored fat in adipose tissue, the belly area. Some sources suggest that if you combine taking rhodiola extract with moderate exercise, the breakdown of belly fat increases even more. So yes, it lowers your cortisol, and lowering your cortisol is huge. It'll help you sleep. It'll take you out of fight or flight mode. It'll lower blood glucose response. It gets rid of abdominal weight gain, thyroid issues, hormone imbalance, decreased memory, weakened immunity. Those are all the things that happen when your cortisol is too high. And you need to balance that out. So let's go into, oh wait, it's also really good for adrenal support, which kind of tacks into this. So your adrenal support is your morning energy support formula that helps your body bring cortisol into balance so that your hormones can thrive. So let's work on our adrenal system. So side effects. Basically, the side effects are very minimal. Dizziness, dry mouth, or excessive saliva. I guess you could say nervous energy too if you don't utilize that energy. You're going to consider it a negative side effect when it's really not. It's just you need to get your butt off again. Hmm. That's really hard to do for some people. I ain't judging, just myself. So we're going to go into a little bit of dosaging. If you hear any sort of contradictions or repeats of something, it's because it's from a different article. Okay. So it has been used by adults in doses of 100 to 600 milligrams by mouth daily for up to 12 weeks. Okay. The plant itself, I stuck this in here because I had forgotten to put it anywhere else. The plant itself grows 10 to 20 inches tall, has succulent leaves, and is usually adorned with small yellowish flowers that they also can be pink or red. The roots, occasionally the rhizomes, underground stems, are used medicinally. What is going on here? There's noises happening outside. Anyway, that's what rhodiola is. The picture, it's pretty cool looking, I think. So, dosages. About 20, I can read either. About 200 milligrams per day is the general use for it. If you went to, say, buy it in a store as a supplement, if you want it for athletic performance, you need to do at least 200 milligrams, although a higher dose of like 1500 milligrams or more increased muscle strength and power. If you're an athlete, check with your doctor. If you want it to really help with stress and mood, I would go for 400 milligrams daily for 4 weeks at minimum, like 4 to 12 weeks. Whichever makes it so that you start feeling better, go off of it. If you feel the need to go back on it again after that same block of time, go ahead. Don't hurt you. I wouldn't consistently take it every single day for the rest of your life, though. That is not how that is designed. Okay? If you have a specific deficiency, then that's different. Different. So there's no standard recommendation of dose of rhodiola, although those are recommended by other websites. So, but this one says anywhere between 400 and 600 milligrams are effective, not the 100. And oftentimes it's not like, okay, so the 600 milligrams, and then the 1500 milligrams. Don't take it all at once. No, your body needs to acclimate. Start low dose and work your way up till you feel that it's working. If you're going to do like a 1500 milligram dosage because you have worked your way up to that, that's three three times a day at 500 milligrams. Okay, you're not taking 1500 milligrams once every day. You're taking up to 1500 milligrams a day. Don't don't give your body a crash. It just doesn't need that. It doesn't. It needs to learn what it's supposed to do. It's not here, make this happen. This is not a pharmacy. It's the pharmacy. Pharma. Um, let's see. So if you want to go and look for a supplement online or in a store, go look for the Rhodiola Rosea as either the SHR5 extract. Um, it has 3% risivins and 1% the salagicide. Um, and that's like 250 to 700 milligrams total per day, split into 1 to 2 doses. That's what I was trying to say before. You have to split your dose. So randomized control trials have studied a range of doses for treating conditions such as depression and fatigue. anywhere between 350 and 1500 milligrams daily. So it basically says the same thing. Final and critical way rhodiola benefits our bodies is by boosting our immune system. Well, it does that. So it can interact with Cozar, CYP2C9 substrates, anti-diabetes medicines, blood pressure medicines, immunosuppressants. Those can have some moderate interactions, some minor, and there's no major interactions at all. Minor interactions would be with the CYP1A2 substrates, the CYP3A4 substrates. These are all liver enzymes. Careful when you're taking an antidepressant. Careful when you're taking sedatives. They can interact. It won't interact like crazy. It won't kill you by any means. None of these will kill you. But just know before you take things, if you're taking pharmaceuticals, you pretty much are not able to take most herbs. So obviously don't take it. No children, no pregnant, no nursing. Don't do that stuff unless you are under specific observation. And that's what I have. That is what I have for you today. It has been a long one, but there's so much information and I literally left out of time. So please go and check those links in the description below. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to see you get active over on the Facebook page, The Herbalist Garden. Everything's The Herbalist Garden. That's not true. I am non sequitur on like TikTok and a couple different things. Because I'm going to change that. I'm going to have them way before. It's where it goes. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Sorry I ran a little bit long, but as I said, there's so much more information. Like, it is incredible how people are like, there's no studies out for those things. I don't trust them. Then you're not looking. You're just going by what somebody who disapproved of herbal treatments said to try to make it look bad. And you're just running head straight with that because it's not true. There's a lot of studies. There's a lot of studies that prove that they work. I am an example that a lot of these things work. My daughter, she does that. We have not been to the doctor in years. I mean, I went for the Lyme's disease, but I didn't go for the medicine. I went for them to say, here's a test. Yes, you have Lyme's disease. They tried to give me medicine. Protocols. I had a protocol, and it was a pain in the butt, but I did it, and guess what? I haven't had it. So, it really does work. It's just you have to be patient and follow the rules and be aware. I could go on forever. I'm sorry, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me and learning with me and supporting me. Very much appreciate you.